Hello? Oh, something's happening. Why? Oh, hello? Something's happening. All right, let's try this. Can anybody hear me? Hopefully, this isn't too blistering. It sounds like it is. Hopefully, this isn't too blistering. It sounds like it is. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. Yes. All right. Yeah, I was playing a whole game and talking a whole speech, but my voice wasn't coming through, and the stream quality was suffering greatly. So I'm keeping an eye on it. I hadn't actually streamed in a while, and it seems I need to work some bugs out. I wonder if it's because I'm streaming to all these platforms. You know, I still use Restream.io, and it's quite a neat, handy tool. It's really quite useful for, like, I mean, anything really. Advertising, marketing, lots of different ways to get a different platform. But, yeah. Before, I mean, about a month ago, it was stable. I could run Twitch, D Live, YouTube, and Periscope, no problem. And I was playing my game content pretty much 60 frames a second. Star Wars Battlefront 2 looked amazing. Like I had Battlefield running pretty good, although that game would get my PC pretty hot. And War Thunder. I mean, it's. I don't think it's the PC at this point. It's not the game. It's not the game. It's the encoding software. Um, Let me check something real quick. I think it's my encoding tweaking. Like my OBS needs to be reconfigured substantially. I did an auto detect for a lot of things, and it seems to just messed it right up. At the time, it was working so good, but I'm starting to realize that it's more advanced with like the internet, local current events as well. Uh, right? Like there's a lot of stuff that's going on that can affect this stuff. It seems to be really busy right now. So let's go back to the game. Yes. Yes, yes. Yes. Indubitably. Oh, that's still quite loud. So we're going to adjust it to that level there. Keep it at a decent range for my voice. Indubitably. Oh, that's still quite loud. So we're going to adjust it to that level there. Keep it at a decent range for my voice. At a decent range indeed. Alright. So yeah, it even looks like certain tools aren't even connecting. Yeah, just yeah. Sum up, guys. Might be the stream encoding's too high. Yep, it's in the red. Oh no. Oh god. No, that looks awful. Okay. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. Oh boy. Okay, so this is like some kind of auto setting. Looks like it's gonna hold. Let's see how it plays out. Just do it. It might be a bit more blurry and not the same quality that I'm used to, but you know, it's still a bit of a test stream. The bitrate right now is substantially less than what I normally choose. That could entirely be the problem. So let's find out. Yes. The cockpit views in this game, man. A lot of them are placeholders, but they still put a worthy, valiant effort into the detail and stuff. A lot of them are obviously super souped up, though, too. You know, they got all kinds of working details and lights and stuff on the dashboard. Really neat stuff. Not full sim or anything. Not quite there yet, where you're like toggling all the switches and activating a landing protocol procedure and stuff. But I do believe that we will have carriers soon enough. Bail out with a burnt bomb. It's alright. You know what's shocking to me really is that it's like, well, it appears that like the way that I was basically doing my own encoding is just so wrong. I didn't even need to put in a kind of a preset for its kilobytes per second. It's just giving me roughly 2692 to 3000. solid green. And it looks like on the D Live, we are super awesome. So that's good. That's always good. I like to prop it up for the D Live fam lately. I find a lot of good content and good content creators on that website. So, you know, it's just something I'm going to do. Wow, it looks really good on D Live. I'm impressed. Very, very impressed. Just another early morning flight, the early morning coffee. Oh look, War Thunder. Hundreds if not thousands of players ready to fight vicious aerial combat with each other. Oh goody. I love this game. Very much an MMO, and it's respected. It's like always busy. There's all kinds of content to enjoy. Campaign modes. They're even working on a World War mode, and it seems pretty epic. Lots of big scale battles and stuff like that. I'm sure finding the qualified players for these kinds of actions is another thing altogether. The game's highly standardized on its ranking system, so I don't exactly have like rank 5 everything, but that's okay. There's still lots for me to do. Oh, yeah. I like how the sounds are a bit muffled. You know what I mean? It's the distortion effect from the cockpit. It's so real. Oh, where are you going? Oh, okay. And he's swinging back around. MiG-3, they have a particular... Oh boy, don't want to crash into an ally there. MiG-3s have a particular kind of flight pattern. They're similar to a lag, where they can only... They're very fast planes, by the way, but they can only really turn so much, and you can take advantage of such qualities if you know about them. This plane that I'm using, the P-36, notorious little bullfighter plane, capable of spins and acrobatics, and good speed really, but it's not very particularly durable or late game worthy. That AR-2's got probably 2 or 3 guns on the back, and you'll pepper me pretty good if I get at a bad angle. So I'm gonna wait for him to swing around. Ally over there is here he comes. Okay. Down for the count on this one. Still got good speed. Oh, how many are coming in? We've bunched up on that one guy, so we got to start to fan out. It's pretty easy to lose games in arcade battle, to be quite honest with you. I mean, when the game mode is shoot the targets and destroy objectives. Because, like, they can just select whole waves of bombers and just annihilate targets on you without... And, of course, you're busy just shooting down 1 or 2 planes, right? As long as he's going home safe. So it looks like they've done exactly what I said. They're taking waves of bombers and they're going to destroy all our targets in a blitz kind of pattern while we were all stuck on a few targets. So I mean, luckily we've got a few of our guys up there and bombers themselves who can kind of intercede. However, if we don't split up, like, we're going to lose the game. Yeah, I've seen this happen before. And, you know, people can complain about it all they want, I guess, about how other people play this game. I find it completely valid. Like, a bomber doesn't run right to target objectives and get shot up all the time. It takes its time, it goes high, and it drops its numerous amounts of bombs on as many targets as possible, as a good bomber should, and then it gets scored for that as well. So, yeah, they actually just won the game on us because we were all stuck on those 2 planes in the corner. But hey, it is what it is. That's just War Thunder for you. And so when you play these game modes, an idea that I probably should change up some planes on is that you're not going to use all 5 planes unless you're crazy like me. Like doing stunts and stuff, I mean, you know, and actually kind of being silly and dying more than a few times than normal in order to just enjoy the game or test out a kind of configuration or whatever. That's generally what I do. But in order to play this battle mode effectively, I think I'm going to need to get a couple more bombers. Yeah, like fast bombers. Fast ones. F2A. Oh, yeah, you gotta go. Honestly, this plane is so much fun to fly, but it's just a bit dated, and it's very, very fragile. SBD. SBD. Do I have any? Yeah, I got a 2.7 bomber that I could take, can't I? Yeah, right there. So I can swap out the B-34. Look at the size of that thing. Okay, so I'd actually want to stay back down to the 2.3 battle rating. So I'm going to switch you out for another P-40. Oh, I'm still in the 2. Okay. Alright, well that's... get the SBD and put it on... crew qualification 28. So this one's the younger crew. Okay, I'll put it on this one. Back down to 2.3 battle rating. Okay, let's check gear real quick. I got the guns on there. The guns, the bombs is what I'm looking for. The guns are vicious, man. When you're fighting against planes, and this particular plane can take a decent amount of punishment. Plus your guns, your back gun's not bad at all. But yeah, you are technically the American dive bomber. Armored targets, ground targets, universals. Yeah, universals gives me, so as opposed to ground targets, 12.7 millimeter ammunition belts. For ground, I'm sorry, I'm probably a little loud. I hope that's better. Good morning, guys. Good morning. It is I, the Jiggly Master. So you can tell by the color of the tips of the bullets of what you're getting per 4 bullets, right? M1 tracer bullet in the first one, and then 4-3 M2 armor piercing bullets. That's generally how that works, right? And you see the armor penetration's quite high. However, when you're shooting at planes, the bullets most like 70% of the time go through the plane. As somebody who's flown a lot of planes and been shot at a lot, like I sometimes I'm flying like a tattered rag home. But so it's not the be all end all. Universal gives you the incendiary bullets as well, so it gives you the 3 armor penetrating first, and then a tracer, and then an incendiary. Only 1 incendiary though, so it's just like your Universal's kind of wasting bullets in a sense. Like the tracers first, then you've got a chance to hit him with a 3 pattern burst, right? Tracers gives you 3 tracers to every 1 armor piercing bullet. Which tracers is really funny though. Tracers you can use as like a psychological weapon, and you can like scare pilots and other foolish mortals. I mean, it's pretty wild. Yeah, like you can actually use tracers to great effect, and stealth as well. Stealth, as you know, they can't see any of the bullets now. So, like, yeah, it's not all the time, because if they know that you're using stealth, then you're gonna get isolated and killed, because stealth is very dangerous for the enemy team. Like in a P-40, for example. So, like something like this. Notice it's more expensive too. Yeah, it's dangerous. I think we'll go ground targets actually, because I like the idea of the tracers first before the armor piercing. I got my bombs. My P-40's good to go. A light fighter, fast. This little guy here, the F2A1, the green meanie, he, yeah, like pretty much one of the only American planes that I feel confident in, that I can almost annihilate any Japanese plane if they don't dive bomb me. If they dive bomb you, then That's all, my friend. You know, like, there's nothing you can really do about that. But when I got a chance, it's this guy right here, and the Thatches and the derivatives of the F2A. It's a decent plane. It's a really good plane. So I think I'm going to swap this guy out for another bomber. See, my choices get quite limited. Oh, wait a minute. No. I got this big guy. Yeah. Oh, God. I even got the PB5. This high altitude craziness. Oh, God. No. Well, so I've got 3 fighters. No. I got a dive bomber, 3 fighters, and a long-range bomber. I think that's suitable. This one, the F2A2 or 3. It's basically just like what, a little bit more speed than the other guy. 548, 527. What are the guns like? M2 Browning machine guns ×4, 1300. Reload time 20 seconds. Reload time 18 seconds. Browning ×4 or ×3. And oh, this guy's got a smaller machine gun. Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, so far so good, at least. I shouldn't say at least. This is actually going very well. I'm surprised. I was struggling with it to get my custom presets going on. And yeah, I kind of just went to like a simple mode. Let's see what it's called on OBS here. Just for validation and possibly for my future use. I used advanced output mode, NVIDIA NVENC H2264 rescaled output, lossless max performance, and it looks great. Let's do a quick speed test. Ooh, I don't know. Take the bomber first. I think going for bomber cover was probably more sensible. Bomber's going low. He has also a pretty decent centered back gunner, which means that any fighter on him is going to have a tough time. I'm actually trying to cover the Italian bomber here. Where did he go? And I lost him. There he is. Nope, that's not him. Where did he go? There he is. I'm trying to cover him. While this other guy shoots at me, that guy's back guns have a chance to center on him. It's a teamed effort. Stay alive, my friend. Oh no, where's he going? I think he's lost control. No, he's actually on a mission. I don't know where he's going. Oh, I believe he's rearming, refitting, and then we're going to turn around. Okay. I hope. Yes. Destroy the ground targets. Oh boy. P-40 got company. I got lucky. See, this says, you notice this thing's got 6 machine guns forward facing. I mean, like, if you just let it steer itself with the mouse, this plane is still so amazing. The P-40 is, I got smoked there. Yeah, actually, the J-22 is nice. It's like a Focke-Wulf. But the P-40 is, in my opinion, one of the greatest American planes ever made. That thing is so fun to fly. Yeah, sure, it's got its issues. It's a bit big. It's got a lot of flight characteristics that aren't really very aerodynamic, I suppose. Like a lot of armor and stuff. Not exactly a Japanese bullet train, but still a lot of fun, eh? Survivability, man. I've been hit by so much in a P-40 and still flown that thing home. It's just it's amazing. And the Air Cobra, amazing planes. All right. How's it going, man? Just a crazy night out there, huh? Yeah. Wonder what he's doing back there. Put on a coffee for me. Oh, those are some pretty serious turret guns, though. Okay. It's kind of like the Blenheim. The Blenheim's got a great top gun. It's just that as a pilot, it's really, unless you're sailing with me at the front or kind of at the back, actually, like in that vector, it's hard for me to align the guns to a particular way that you like them. So, I mean, that's just from a pilot's perspective. If you were in the front gun, then that would be the most ideal, because then I could aim and fly at the same time, effectively, you understand? Like, as a pilot, it makes it difficult for me to, but however, your guns at the top are usually like almost tank guns. Oh, it did no damage. Yeah. Took a lot of beating, though. Beautiful looking plane. It's unfortunate that it's face down in the snow, but yeah, I mean, oh no, he tried. I commend him for trying.
The enemy is winning. We must counterattack.
I still missed. I'm not exactly the best dive bomber in the world. But, oh man, I need to get a coffee. But I can't because the round's almost over and I've got a plane left. I hope. It's this guy again. Okay, time to bring out the green meanie. Might have a chance against J-22s, but it's the J-22 is one of those. It's like the Japanese planes. You notice I use the. If people watch my content in the past, they know that I have certain planes in the Japanese roster, like the Key Series 2 and 1, are notably awesome planes that I use quite a bit. And hey, where are you going? Where are you going? It's crazy in there, man. They were just throwing themselves into the AA at the end. Alright, time for a coffee. I'll be right back. Nice. Certainly a unique map. I believe this one's over Malta. Yeah. Pardon me. Pardon me. I know it can be a bit loud for the microphone. All right. Why, hello there. Hello. It's good to have biplanes on my team. They can be awfully dangerous on their team, especially when surrounded by, like, modern planes like Corsairs and things. Zeros. I used to not like that about War Thunder. I used to like Germany versus America, Japan versus Britain. But now it's like all of them pit together. Like I fought with Americans and Axis, and it's neat. I like it more. It's more like you can all test the qualities of each plane in variety of situations, finding strengths and weaknesses that probably weren't normally actually tested for. So it's a cool game. It's a neat game. There's always something to learn. War Thunder, free to play, cross-platform. Get your stuff together and play with me. I call across all of the dimensions so that you can play this game with me. Oh, here he comes. He knows. He knows. He knows. Oh no! Oh no! Babe. P-36. What can I say? P-36 is like the quintessential bullfighter plane. It's amazing. I'm not too sure if they were carrier loaded or whatever, but they're small enough that basically you could design a carrier to carry like dozens of them. They're just tiny little planes. They're like BF-109s. It appears when planes started to have to incorporate bigger engines is when they started getting substantially larger. I'd say that the Spitfire is one of the only planes that's kind of maintains its shape roughly, and it's probably its weight. During World War II, even the BF-109 started to get really large in the later stages of the war to adapt to a lot of modern equipment that was being put onto it, and a lot of the pilots would complain because these features would be quite detrimental to the qualities of the plane flight. When you think of it logically, right? You know, when you're fighting a war, you lose your quality pilots, and you lose the quality input that they provided, and it's just a calamity of circumstances that, you know, that Germany probably, or other nations even, probably had rockets ready to go on their planes, and yet they didn't really have a way to, like, even fit them on in a sense. They know they did, but it wasn't as prevalent as some video games make it seem. It came quite later. Or it was only really particularly used in a special kind of role, like anti-tank. So, like, the calamity of war is that there's almost no communication because everyone's afraid of letting the enemy know, right? So, I mean, you have to really assume that most of it's false. That most of the information that you're hearing about during a wartime is in fact just crap. It's just crap, and there's only really what you can take that is tangible, that you can work with. Everything else is just probably just miscommunication. It's what do you call it? Misinformation to confuse the enemy. You see, right? Like, and I'm sure that in World War II, like how this all is relevant to what I'm talking about is that there's so much capability on these planes that they like learned. Oh boy, damn! It's one of those French ones. They learned after the fact. Like they had to lose a lot of stuff before the top started to take considerable notice. And I mean, in Japan, it seemed to actually happen quite quick. In America, it happened super slow. Right? Like some nations went into the war with a philosophy that that you learn and adapt, and you strengthen and maximize your qualities for the objectives. And Japan's planes and its designs were basically modified American planes, or at least they knew what the Americans were going to build, and they built their own, and they basically put no armor. They used wood. They just used wood. And they started putting rockets on them and rocket-powered engines and stuff. Like, The Germans were pretty crazy with their air force, but the Japanese actually had a plan to be way crazier than the Germans. So, and the Japanese had carriers in submarines. By the way, they had Yamamoto was an admiral that was trained at West Point, and then he took his experience and talked to the top Navy brass in Japan, preparing for the World War II. I mean, from what I learned about American history in World War II, is that many of the brain trust of it, I wouldn't say that it was a grand conspiracy, rather just a conflagration of craziness. Like, a lot of them came from military backgrounds. I mean, is it so hard to believe? Like these guys had vendettas. All of them did, with each other, I even think, and industries and things. There was a war that no one ever really even learned about. And I mean, at the time, I mean, you can only imagine how misinformed the culture must have been. They were probably all just loving life, having a great time, going to TV on planes and stuff. But even though there's like a few huts. Yeah, World War II, I mean, effectively it was just this very convenient thing that brought air power to the world. And I mean, it's a terrible way to look at it, right? But I mean, here we are, I'm playing this simulator video game, so to speak. And yeah, COVID's effectively just neutralized that, hasn't it? I mean, yeah, sure, they'll open up planes again, but will it ever be at the same velocity when people start to get wise and they're like, you know what, I could just freaking take a bike. That's right, I'm going to take a bike to Las Vegas, you know what I mean? Don't worry, man. I'll just drink my own pee the entire time. I watched a YouTube channel. I know everything. Don't shoot me. Oh, boy. Inject messages. I see I got one viewer. I've got one hapless victim. I mean, how's it going, man? I'm glad you're watching the stream. Hopefully it's running smooth. I had a bit of problems earlier, and it looks like it's absolutely, like, super smooth. Very impressed. Hey. So you gotta watch out for those guys. They've got a sneaky little hidden gun at the bottom there to trick the German pilots. So if you think you've got this guy on the run, think again. He's got lots of firepower back there. And basically two gunners with two different brains shooting at you. B-17, you're a priority target. If I make it. I'm basically on hit list, you know. The Japanese planes, if you hit them good once in the center, that's it. That's it. It doesn't, Americans, I mean, if the Americans could afford the armor, the horsepower, the firepower, go for it. They made some superior planes in the end, but they unfortunately had to lose many good men and women. That's right. I'm sure even women probably flew these combat missions, at least in a training. Who knows? Maybe some of them were put in position like in Malta, or in other places like perhaps in France, where there was literally no one else. And they've got a brain, they can learn to fly. Guess what? They're flying a Spitfire in World War II. Yeah. I mean, Poland had divisions of soldiers that had left Germany and fought for other nations against Germany. And in Czechoslovakia. Czechoslovakia and other nations had expatriates who didn't agree with the war. Even Italy. So, I mean, there's so much history about World War II that I just absorbed in my lifetime that people could go on about with conjecture and this and that. But it's like, I'm not here necessarily to convince anyone of the stuff that I've read and say that it's true. That what I've done is I've used this to view the world, and it's only season to season the soup. So, I mean, you could take that as a metaphor as you want. So, it's made it more full, even if it is just someone else's board game. I don't know anymore, man. I don't know. I just know that yeah, World War II was a very fascinating time for me, and that it was so political, and it was so like, oh, that it was about this and that, and it was like all these people died, and it was about a particular group of people dying when it was actually like the whole world dying. well with, and it started on a social level, which I can agree with, though, which directly targeted the Jewish people, and then by extension the handicapped, the ill, anybody who was basically not part of the party. If you want to look at it like tactically, I suppose the Nazi Party was more communist than you could ever imagine. They had actual teeth and an evil kind of brain to use it. Like, there was no idealism there. With real true Marxism, there's an idealistic sense that I'm just gonna bail out. In my opinion, there's an idealistic sense that you're benefiting the will of the people, that you're actually doing it for the people. Now, if you ask Karl Marx and you say, was that the end goal of what Marxism was? He'd probably say yes. I mean, I don't know. I'm just reading what everyone else read, the Communist Manifesto and all that stuff. Communism's never been more politically bastardized in this time, when there's actually a written, articulate history about it and its evolution and its problems. It's an ideology. The problem, in my opinion, is to ascribe to an ideology so wholeheartedly, for the sense and for the notion of the people, it leads to, yes, atrocities. That's right. Because it's so altruistic. Of course we want to help the people. But to represent the people is to represent a million faces of a gem. Like, it's just too much. It's just too impossible. And yet there's men and women who dare to dream, right? But I tell you that it never lands well. It never started well. That's, I think, probably the keyest point to all this. It never started well. Now the Nazi Party. Let's get to the Nazi Party. The Nazi Party, the National Socialists, used a lot of political intrigue, power, and the garnering of special characters and players, big money movers and shakers in the European scene and abroad, and then effectively to orchestrate the greatest coup of power in Europe at the time. Not necessarily to take it away from the Kaiser, which was effectively voted away from him near his deathbed. They chose Hitler. He was young and he was passionate. But a lot of Germans didn't agree. Many people didn't agree, because and he would play the snake in the basket, like he's just hiding his intentions, hiding my intentions. His intentions became much more bare and much more obvious far later, and it was already too late. What Russia on the back end, what people might forget, is that on the back end, Russia in World War II enabled Germany in order to practice and work with. As far as we know, it was all of them. They used Russia. But they used Russia as a place for Germany to test its air power, test its training, its paratroopers, all that stuff. And it was probably funded by more than one nation, to be quite honest with you, in order to keep it in secret from the British. That's right. Somebody had to have been tricked in all that. Or they were all playing a game, right? It was all kind of strings and foolishness. Like, what's his name? Peace in Our Time guy. Not Winston Churchill, the other guy. Chamberlain. Well, Chamberlain? Chamberlain. And it was, he gone to Hitler, gotten the letter and all that, and there you go. He came back to Britain and said, we got peace in our time. It was a total botched lie. Now, we do not live in a Nazi society. Antifa and other groups like that want to create a Nazi society. That's right. Antifa and other groups. That's right. I said it. There's a lot of groups in America that go right back to the core essence. Back to the past. Do-do-do-do. This is right. That's right. I'm an Epoch Rants and Game stream, so deal with it. But you know what? I feel like I need to talk about it these days because there's so much smoke and misinformation, and there's a lot of good people coming out. I see on these random live streams that you watch on Twitch and you D-Live and stuff. And it's just like, oh, they all of a sudden they're interviewing a 60-year-old black man, and he's got like such wisdom. And it's just like this. They found somebody who's real, and they put him on the internet, and it makes me cry because I feel like that used to be me, you know. Like, and it's like, oh, I actually feel like I lost a sense of my humanity by actually indulging in all this internet craziness. And it was like, it was such a powerful effect to me. It made me cry. The guy said, he's like, man, these kids don't know what they're losing. In a lot of these respects, a lot of them are going crazy with violence. They're just getting tallied by a police state that never cared about this 60-year-old man either, and he said it. Like, this isn't new. No one asked him about how he felt. And meanwhile, all these kids are going crazy. All these stupid kids who are brainwashed by the internet. Brainwashed by bad information. Right? When a country is told by every corporation to hate its government and to just stay home because we're going to pay you. We're going to pay you to stay home. Like, I mean, I live in Canada, but I mean, it's very much the same as the United States. Hate Donald Trump, everyone hates Justin Trudeau up here. Everyone hates him. I mean, like, the guy is ingratiating, he wants to take our guns. It's such a, like, politics to me, it just never talks about what I want to talk about anyway, so I just laugh at it because it's horrible. It's horrible. It is horrible. Like, actually, to even imagine that one person, like Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, or whoever, could have the true pulse on the whole scale of the situation because it's probably so terrible. And you know, it's us who really just been like, what do we expect a whole nation and somebody to project as a whole nation to do in some situations? It would seem barbaric. But what do you expect the individual? How can we, as an individual, as a nation, even comprehend the scale and gravity of the words that are coming out of this individual's mouth? Right? Now think about how crazy Donald Trump sometimes actually seems to speak. Remember that the intention is everything when somebody speaks, but that somebody can actually be so slippery is kind of an understatement. Now I'm no one's friend. I'm not here, and when it comes to politics, there are no friends. That's basically that's what I learned. That's what I learned. So I generally don't like to talk about this stuff because it's never good anyway. But that's pretty much about it. You knew damn well he was a snake before you let him in, and he says it. He says it. So, like, at this point, do they want a Nazi society in the United States? They want something worse. I think they want something worse. And you know, it's actually the black, I believe the black population, they're going to try and cater it to. Like, they want them to completely revel in the self-destruction of their own society, that they would give them Nazi-like pleasure, like the black population and other seemingly, because you got to remember, this is from a Democrat's perspective, like the seemingly downtrodden of the races. I'm not a racist. I'm just saying, like, it's Israel. There's a place called America that peddles it. It's awful. And, you know, it's like, fuck, why am I even talking about this on a War Thunder stream? Thank you all for tuning in. I'm probably censored in about 80 different languages. But I mean, how do we get away from the idea that one person's privileged over the other? It comes back to old thinking, old logic, right? And now that's what they're doing. They're hurting black people in America and then creating pleasure for them. Like, they're treating them like children. This whole system caters to children, and it's awful. When you see the truth, I'm a Christian. I am a Christian. When you see the truth, they come for the children early. They don't care about the color, but that's what they're going to play this game as. They know their real threat is the truth and not a white man who's angry. But that's what they're still afraid of. They're still afraid of basically the white population effectively creating some kind of fucking civil race war. I mean, let's think about this. Because here's where I stand. I'm a very politically outspoken person in a lot of texts and chats, and if anyone catches this fucking broadcast, listen to these words that I have to say right now. Like, the reason I'm so fucking just brutal with some of the shit I say is that, like, they do it to everyone, but it's in different flavors. So, I mean, unless you actually want to learn about how bad they treat black people and how bad they are abused, yes, how bad they are in certain fucking cities, it's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible, man. And I mean, the rumors of the crates of guns and stuff in Chicago, I wonder if that's fucking true. I wonder if it's true. I wonder if it's the police who drop these things off. You know, I'm not trying to implicate them in all this crime and stuff, and that there's some grand conspiracy. But that there is some kind of agenda to amplify what divides America. The problem is, dude, that guns are just such a simple ingredient to that. Like, yes, they want to take your guns. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. They want to... But gun manufacturing, where gun manufacturing came from, was from war. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. You can't constantly live in a state of fear where we do not trust our collective government enough to at least say, hey, when stuff is breaking out of control, we can put these guns to good use. Because the logical fallacy is this about gun control, and basically about America in general, about the crux of the battle, guys, is that if those guns aren't used properly, then they're just going to be used like shit. Right? And I know a lot of most of the gun owners that I know are obviously very responsible. They got that shit under lock and key, and they're no fools about their guns. And I make no statements as to say that guns should be abolished and removed. I think that gun privacy and ownership is absolutely something that should exist. But that there's something about America, there's something about the culture of it. There's something about the way that they target certain cities, and I mean, I'm not exactly a super internet researcher, but that it has more to do with certain races, and that there's almost a political agenda from someone, from some side even, because this is about money, to make the whites hate the black, make the blacks hate the white, to play off each other, and they need your ignorance to the real crime, the real cities, the real problems. And we can call them sanctuary cities all you want, but these places have fucking names. Okay, these people have fucking names. Like, I'm tired of the banter of listening to Americans talk about their country, because that's not how I feel about your country, but I'm not from your country, so I'm the bastard. You know what I mean? Like, I've listened to enough of them rant and rave about their country that it just irritates the shit out of me. I'm like, your country's so fucking beautiful and gigantic. Like, how could you guys take this beautiful piece and just call it shit? Like, it never mattered to me, it never mattered to me. I think that notion's terrible. Like, yes, I live in Canada. I live in fact, British Columbia. We do not have... It is not all roses and sunshine, let me tell you. But that it was. And you know what, though? The truth is it got busy. There's a lot of people who've come here and they changed this place, and for the better in a lot of respects, and a lot of respects for the worse. So, I mean, like, it's that when they're self-destroying their cities, right? It's beyond race at this point, guys. It's beyond race. Yeah, I need people to look past that. Like, it is about some kind of socioeconomic exploitation button that they press. And, I mean, they're just looking for a particular, basically, age group. There's somebody with nothing to fucking do and government money, and hey, you got nothing to do. How about you join my army? My army operates on Twitch and Twitter. And what we do is we terrorize the American cities, you know? But what these guys are actually, you have to think, for anyone who partakes in this kind of violence, that even though you seem to operate with an impunity, like you're protected in a sense to commit like Antifa violence, like Nazi protected government sanctioned violence. Antifa. Government sanctioned violence. Did I say that? Antifa. Government sanctioned violence. Did I say that? Because that's how I feel. Right? I mean, at this point, why is Donald Trump not accused? It seems to boggle my mind. Because, I mean, as a president, you'd think that he could deal with private organizations effectively causing murder and mayhem. Well, I don't know about murder. Like, look, I think these guys are smart enough to realize that that the whole goal of the game, okay, is to get the young and the youthful and the vigilant and the misguided and get these people to do crime with which to blackmail you with. And even though you can say, okay, well, fuck these guys, and you walk away from them and you go away, obviously they're still going to know what you did, okay? And no matter what you believed and what you were lied about to, I'm talking to every one of you. It doesn't matter what skin color you are. Get over that stuff. Get over the race issue, right? Oh, I'm going to tell you that black lives don't matter. Of course black lives matter. White lives matter too. Black lives matter, yeah, sure, I'll give that to you. White lives matter too. Black lives matter, yeah, I'll give that to you. Okay, but until we see the problem, until we see the problem, until we see the problem, nobody can fix it. I have a way to show people, to at least talk to them, show them, like, hey, maybe you're not wrong. You're not wrong, but I'm teaching you how to think. Like, you seem emotional. I can neutralize that part of you. I can actually, like, single it out and find it. And I, like, start to tip the boat. Humans are neat creatures. Some. Like, when it comes to scaling all of you, I mean, I might as well compare a snail and a Tyrannosaurus Rex. I think it's about as gentle as I can make it. Like, that's just it, guys. I don't know shit. But I know a bullshitter. Like, that's the whole game, the goal of the game. They want you guys to commit crime, to be complicit in crime with them, because then the network continues, because you are their servant. Then you work crime, and there's no getting away from it, and you can keep telling yourselves and keep gentrifying yourselves and join the cult mentality, right, where you need to mantra and you need to center a lot. Like, you need to fight your natural inhibitions. Your government teaches you how to do this. Yeah, it's like, actually, it's really sad, because I've seen it on Twitch and channels. I'm sorry that this shit's getting so serious, but, like, yo, this shit's gotta come out. And I mean, I'll probably rant about it again later anyway, but I'm still on a roll, baby. Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen cultists, if you want to call them that. They hate Trump. They have to repeat the mantras of all the news points, and it really self-destroys them, like, in a variety of ways. It's not that I love fucking Trump. I don't love the guy, but what happened in 2016 was kind of a miracle, and at the same time, it was all bullshit. You know, a lot of people hate Alex Jones. Can you hate him for what he did in 2016, though? If you actually know what happened? Like, the guy actually took so much shit, too. And all he was doing was just standing there saying, hey, look, you know what I mean? Like, there's also another opinion. That's all. That's all. And ever since then, it seemed like, if you ask me, if you really like to find my opinion about the Pizzagate thing and the other kinds of myths that came out from 2016, right from somebody who was there, much of the information came from the WikiLeaks, which seems to have been very entwined with the CIA in a lot of levels, and Edward Snowden. Could this have all been some kind of plant, some kind of operation, perhaps against themselves? I don't want to answer that right now, because it was a very difficult time, and a lot of people were inundated with very poor levels of information about something like child trafficking through the American government and beyond. And, you know, Alex Jones was in and around that spot, and you could look at it any way you'd like about him and have your opinions about him. But that man was there, and I saw the amount of firepower going his way, and I mean, I'll never forget him. I'll never forget Alex Jones. He's a brave man. He might be a lot of different things, but you know, I think his level of belief isn't questionable. I think that's really what I'm getting at. And you know, Alex Jones, you're an American patriot. Yeah, I know a lot of people don't agree with you, though. Sometimes I certainly don't. But you know what, though? He's leading the way in that a true patriot is somebody who stands for what's true. Okay, who doesn't use their fists because I'm smashing against the own system that feeds me. Right? Like, I can be the biggest Tyrannosaurus monster and Donkey Kong my way through Vancouver. Why? I'm just ruining it for the homeless. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have a pretty shitty time. Like, you know what, though? I actually was taken by a homeless individual when I was working downtown, and I was chatting him, having a smoke. It was a cold morning or whatever, and he's just like, hey, come follow me. And we went right back behind my place to the work spot, to an Army and Navy store, and there was a fucking eatery in there that was doing soup and sandwich, delicious sandwiches and soup combos for $5. And it was like, oh yeah, like every morning, cold and dirty and dusty, mold and all kinds of craziness going on in the alleyways. You gotta understand, this is like the dingiest Vancouver alleyway you can imagine, okay? Like slushy, wintry morning. So iconic, like so picturesque in my mind. It's so blue, the sky is dark, but it's like the sun's coming out, so it's like just tinging up and getting bluer, and that hue, that azure, is like tinging up, but it's still so heavily entrenched with wet everywhere, and there's like snow layered on everything, but it's wet. And like and all the alleyways, like you hear the work tools and stuff are like everything's just starting to wind up, and it's cool. It's like you feel the energy of it, like all this stuff is happening, going on, and all this input is going into your brain. And I mean, it's this cool kind of feeling, like, yeah, like all the engine parts are turning on, like you feel like a machine in a way, and you like it. But yeah, being in that setting, it was such a cool experience, because I was having all this going on, and then this homeless guy's like, I was just finishing my smoke, he's like, hey, come check this out, and I'm like, okay. Like, I didn't, I just bounced. It got weird, and I was expecting, but I trusted the guy. Like, there was no reason for me not to trust the guy. And he's just like, hey, I'm going to show you something. And he brought me to the eatery, and he's just like, yeah, man, let's have something to eat. And fucking quickly, I wolfed down this delicious soup, beef stroganoff, and a gigantic roast beef sandwich. Yeah, it was so good. And I kept going to that place, and I'm sure it's still open, and you know what I mean? These guys help the homeless so much, and it's like a world within a world, but you gotta get let in through certain doors, or else how would you really, like, the whole environment outside was like, oh boy, it was like wet city, man. Like everything was just so, like, I'm in a World War I environment. Wet wood, the sounds of battle in the background. Like, yeah, is this like, am I layered correctly? Do I have my gas mask on? Like, it had that feeling to it. Yeah. So there you go. Epoch rant done. That's it. I'm never gonna rant again. No. Look, I know a lot about history, but I'm as an adult, you have to understand that there's a lot of living history that's occurred off the books, right? Like, there's so much. You only really should use history as kind of a moniker to view a living history, and there's a lot in there that's true, and a lot in there that's just absolutely useless. Like, to learn that Goering was an aficionado of World War I planes, like he collected them and took great care to preserve them. All his career, I suppose, as a Nazi, but even beyond that, like as an individual, he collected art and collected great masterpieces and stuff. I mean, you could look at it on the surface and say the guy was just a fat monster who was greedy. Well, apparently the documents of the Nazis indicate that the way that he treated his World War I collection of planes were that he actually had the biggest museum in history, and he had like over 200 of them. And the greatest surviving museum of World War I planes is still Goering's, that the German soldiers had to chop up in order to put in trains to save from Allied bombing. And you know, it's just a terrible thing, really. But I mean, in a sense, these evil characters preserved elements of history that still live today somewhere. There's somewhere out there you can actually see surviving World War I plane fuselages and stuff, and they're absolutely authentic. You might even be able to turn on an engine. And these were beautiful, beautiful planes. You will not see them ever again in history. Don't you understand? Like, Goering understood that, you know, he was fighting an enemy that was looking to, like, eradicate whatever was going through his mind, I assume. You know, he's just like, his goal was actually to preserve this stuff. Now, take that as you will, right? Now, again, is that true to the history? I don't know. No idea. But it's a neat story. It's a neat story. If the planes do exist, then there's the truth, really, to it. Right? This guy actually took great length to preserve these planes. Sure, he might have just cared about them a lot, but what do we really know about what somebody actually wants? It was bound to happen someday. There you go. And I don't even think I really hit him. But yeah. I like how the guy with the name Hentai Lover said, when you accidentally enter arcade. Like, oops. Huh? You made a mistake? Well, alright, anime lover. Go back to simulated battles where you guys all have your weird decals of anime doing very, very suggestive things, and worse, on the wings and stuff. You know, just try not to get arrested by the War Thunder crew for being a bit too lewd. Me, I like to keep my imagery pretty classy, you know, I like to show off the plane. There we go. Those are some even numbers. Now, you might think this is kind of a silly way to play the game, right? Well, here's the thing. These guys can't get enough of me, that's for sure. But when they're all busy shooting in a plane, they're the easiest to kill. So basically, a lot of my teammates love me. Short answer. The longer it takes, the more frustrating it becomes. But yeah, of course, you get beat up a bit. Some planes, it's just crazy to do this stuff. Crazy! But these Japanese planes, this is where I learned how to fly like this, and it's just so dang agile in the arcade battle mode. Oh god, it's so much fun. And yes, on console, you can get really good with those controls. I've been beaten more than a few times. Oh. Yeah. This might be the final. Yeah. Oh, he's in trouble though. Gotta make it. Gotta make it basically as visceral as possible, you know. Sometimes I can get pretty animated. Yeah. They were all just taking pot shots anyway. So now to the Key 44 series. The 2. Hi. I was using the 1 there. The Key 65. This is the Key 42. Probably more like the Russian plane, really. Like the Lag 3. Like it has particular characteristics that you go so fast the plane will only turn in such a way and corkscrew. And you get used to that. You get used to it pretty quickly, actually. It's a lot of fun to fly. The Russians also have that little flat plane, that small little flat plane. That's very much like this plane. Down she goes. Down she goes. Oh, nice. He was in the B1. That guy there is probably the hardest BF-109 to use. He's the earliest version, so he's really light, kind of low horsepower. Only like 2 machine guns facing forward, and they're pretty small. But you're agile. You're basically like a little Japanese plane. And yeah, you're a lot of fun to fly. A pretty superior plane for the time. You gotta see from that perspective, like if that's indeed how it was historically, then anything effectively larger than the BF-109, which is already such a small little Stinger plane, was already at a disadvantage of being slower and probably less agile. The Germans were probably working on how to fit bigger guns on the thing since, and so they did with cannons and stuff, right? So, like, yeah, it was pretty nasty. It was all really about design of the planes that mattered more than anything. Pilots kind of came and went. Ouch. Yeah, I wasn't getting too far. Oh, did I hit somebody? I don't know. I don't even know anymore. Alright. I wish the very best for America. I mean, it's a gigantic bloody nation, guys. The idea that the news has been basically working against you and each other for like years and years is probably there since 9/11. And, you know, a lot of us didn't really want to see it. And a lot of the newer generation in this world didn't want to see how bad the government's really getting with no accountability. As an old-ass fucking dude on the internet, I can tell you that it's pretty bad. And, I mean, here's the thing. Donald Trump, Angela Merkel, Boris Johnson, or whoever's in, and other individuals around the world, Shinzo Abe, Xi Jinping, like, they all know that they're only one dude in a sea of crazy, and there's so much grasping by other players going on that it's like it's always been a kind of game of Monopoly amongst a game of Go and in a game of chess, and it's pretty terrible to think of. Like, in America, we've got active interests who are galvanizing you guys one way or another into the election. That all this money and all these timely events, if you want to look at it like that. This is my conspiracy, by the way. I didn't actually just read this up. This is my brain thinking about stuff and saying, okay, well, like, what the fuck is going on? And here's the deal. Like, there's a lot of Americans who just don't know a fucking thing about what's going on. And obviously, everyone's trying to take advantage. So that's just it. Like, yeah. I mean, Donald Trump, all the way down to some internet scambler, gambler. They all are counting on one thing, and that's Americans not to get very intelligent. Am I here to tell you again that I don't love Donald Trump and don't support him in 2020? What's the alternative, Joe Biden? I think the alternative should be the American people. I'd love to hear what they have to say. That's generally how I fucking feel. That's what I hope. I know a lot of them don't like the guy. I know a lot of them don't like anyone, actually. And that's okay. I don't mind these people. Because they still love their country and they got something to say. And they are the hidden majority. Like, I don't know what they want. They're just people. But they live in America. And they vote. Shout out to my Twitch fam. Shout out to D Live. I love you guys. Oh, Periscope. You guys are always bumping on there. Much love to you guys. I know I don't stream enough. I know I don't talk enough. I know I'm usually a dour individual. Going on about this and that. I'm an old man. Back in my day, we used to eat Fizzle Pops. Well, I mean, no, actually. We used to eat Screaming Saucers. And, it made your poo turn blue. Yeah, I mean, they tried all kinds of stuff on us as kids. Science experiments and weird stuff. Lab broads and weird VR experiments and stuff. I remember a flight sim that was at the Pacific National Exhibit, the PNE in Vancouver. And it was this huge room where, I mean, you had to pay for your ticket and everything, and we all lined up and we sat in basically like a stereo, like a modern theater, very much. Like the seats were like more ergonomic and they moved around with animatronics and stuff. And we all simulated a flight, and it synchronized with this gigantic, like, high-res F-16 mock-up, and with like all the HUD display and everything. It was pretty cool. I thought it was kind of boring, actually, because I'm like, I could just play a video game. But I was like, yeah, it's pretty cool, the seats and stuff. Like, I'm like, this could go. I remember thinking to myself, like, I'm like, yeah, this is going to be a thing one day, and I'm going to get into a capsule and, like, fly around in a VR environment. And I was like, ooh, my appetite is... But you know what? It's just like... It's like this. I mean, I've been to a lot of arcades, and man, those things cost money. So unless somebody who's like a crazy science engineer builds you a personal unit, good luck, man. It takes a... I suppose like a good VR set is something else entirely different. But I was talking like full on, like, you know, the whole of the inside of the capsule was like an arcade... Kind of like what I think this plane experience that the PNE was going for. Like, you actually felt like you were right immersed in there without having to put on a weird set on your head and feel like you're going through a disorienting process. It was like you were actually there. But yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe it's still out there. Some kind of, I suppose, I don't know, maybe, I don't want to do a military actual training helicopter ride or anything, but like, some kind of neat space fighter jet game that was way more interactive. Elite Dangerous is kind of cool like that. Maybe I'll try it with a VR set one day. Hey, let's actually go to the Navy mode. See how it's going to run for the frames at least. I appreciate you all for joining in. Anybody who's listening to this booming voice, hopefully it's not too loud. I appreciate you all for joining in. Anybody who's listening to this booming voice, hopefully it's not too loud.
Gunners are searching for airborne and surface targets.
I like the dragon that I made at the front there. Using some creative deco work. I keep telling myself, actually, in this particular game mode, the artillery call-in, it's so really overpowered. Like, I wonder how many players get turned off by that kind of sense. Like, I'd rather just kind of keep it conventional, because not a lot of players get access to those kinds of tools, or they don't really know how, and this is still somewhat of an early game mode. So unless like they're taking a base and it's super clutch objective, I'm going to try and refrain from dropping the hammer down and calling down indiscriminate justice upon oh, look what they did. Look what they did. Okay, that's it. That's it. If I can fight fire with fire, I'll let you know. I'll let you know what's happening right now. Oh god. It's a tricky boat, this one. It's got that dope back gun, but you see, even then he's got to center his shots because he's just like, it's a big swing. Forward! Oh no. yep. I believe that's a fair mile. That thing's got a gigantic gun on the side. Oh, he did. Okay, good. Moving on to B. Moving on to B. Cover and fire. You know, I remember the Vosper looking so different than that. Hopefully that wasn't too loud. Like, yeah, like, I feel like they changed it. They changed the boat. Oh, he just grabbed some cover, did he? Oh. I'm in trouble though, because there's another boat that's approaching on the other side. I gotta get out of here. Oh no, he got me. Yeah. Yeah, so the Maz 555, the boat that I'm using, it's really under armored. Yeah, like it doesn't take much penetration to like hit the ammo rack and cause all kinds of catastrophic doom and gloom. Yeah. So you gotta be tricky with it. Like it has its advantages. That back gun has a wide arc. You can shoot anything on the low horizon and below with a good, decent potato mashing size gun. Like a pom-pom is what I call. Like, and I mean, as you can see, it was getting pretty much 1.4 click out and beyond. Decent. Anything beyond 2 is not favorable. You get clipped more than you actually kill. So, yeah, I'm a bit perplexed really that, I guess entirely on like my net coding of it or how my internet deals with it, but I thought that by giving the overhead to the stream, I would get the best streaming experience when in fact giving it like the bare minimum has made the experience way better, at least on DLive. And if anyone's watching this, perhaps watching maybe even from YouTube, Twitch, Periscope, if you could let me know how the quality is running on this stream, that would be greatly appreciated, as I'm kind of doing this as a test stream right now. But either way, thanks for stopping by. I don't know if you can even hear my voice or what's up with that. I'm just a noob. General rule of thumb, I was about to say, as before starting getting shot at. General rule of thumb is to be at least at 1,500 feet. It makes it difficult for the enemy boats to shoot at you. Anything below that, you're pretty much fair game, because they've got big guns. They got really big guns. Oh. I got them both, didn't I? No, just the one. As you can see, the turret there, it's got the same kind of thing as that other plane that I was using. Which one was that? That plane that I was using. The B-35, I believe it was. But yeah, this guy's got it a little bit better because he's a bit more squat, and like he can even fire forward facing to a degree. so I can get a little tricky. Like with the Soviet bombers, they've got a forward-facing machine gun, and if you get within range of enemy planes, like just within buzzing range, you can provide good, adequate covering fire for your allies. Need little tricks. And this guy in particular, this bomber here, as you can see, he's got the 3 engines, right? Well, you're not a fast bomber, that's for sure. But when it comes to lift, this guy's got it. And I mean, I've been in the worst situations you can imagine with this guy, and I've still flown it somewhat manageable to even drop payload. So, like, one of my favorite bombers is, in terms of just bombing, has got to be this guy, because he's got all kinds of guns too. Maybe not the greatest armor though, but that's okay. You have been marked. I am shooting you across the deck. This land belongs to me now. Well, I mean, you know, land or this little island, this little perch. I'm listening to my maniacal cackling on the other computer there, and how ridiculous it is. But I'm glad that my mic quality is coming in right. What does this do? In the mouse aim mode, this skill affects control accuracy. Okay. The aircraft. Let's try that again. You can also choose different types of ammunition, as I've shown, and anyone who's played War Thunder is obviously aware of. But I'm particularly, like this one, the boats in particular, they got all kinds of different guns on them, right? So you can get all kinds of different ammunition types with these different kinds of guns. And, you know, for the American and British vessels, even the German ones to an extent, they get pretty large caliber, and the Russian ones actually too. They get pretty large guns right away. And so you're dealing with like light caliber weaponry, like machine guns and stuff, that's only really good for like peppering light boats and really close planes, with like a gigantic potato mashing gun, or like an artillery piece that's meant to be fired at between 2.5 and 4K basically out. And you can, as a fair mile class kind of ship, you can do incredible amounts of suppressive fire, like causing the enemy all kinds of chaos and stuff, with that very powerful gigantic gun. And like, because in my opinion, Navy mode or Navy arcade mode in this game in War Thunder can be so utterly chaotic that you're like dead right away, and there's nothing you can do about it. If you can learn to survive in the craziness and the chaos, you might have a chance. Smoke can help, but it can. Sometimes you just want your allies to shoot them all. Like there's no other way. So you don't want to blind them. It's like you have to be really well timed with your smoke. So what this means, our team hasn't spotted them all yet. They could be running around this corner. Could be all of them. Oh, I missed them. Oh. Oh no. Yeah. Those Russian light vessels, I find are so... They're a lot of fun to drive. But they're really, really, really dangerous. They're very fast, or they're extremely well armored, which is also pretty sweet. The German ones, and I suppose the Japanese ones are quite different than the German ones, but the German ones seem to accentuate speed and a good balance of firepower, actually, like anti-air capabilities. I'm sure they were dealing with a lot of the British, which obviously is a lot of planes. But yeah, they like some of their vessels have some of the coolest anti-aircraft features and adaptabilities. but they also seem to kind of suffer the long haul of like not meant to deal with big, heavy ships, and a lot of smaller ships seem to overwhelm them quite rapidly. I won't say that about the G3. The G3 or the L3, LS3, the LS3 there, that little boat there, is more than capable of doing horrific damage to anything big and small. Like, yeah, and the fact that they're actually quite small to hit only increases the chance of them doing that. The G5 is a problem. He's overpowered. Gets the highest speed in the game. He's basically like a little submarine. The Higgins is one of my favorite. Higgins gets 2 Browning machine guns like with like 2,000 ammo per clip, and yeah, if you align the boat properly, you can just double score on anything. I'm out of here. Yeah. Nice. Okay. Nice. Alright. Alright, alright. Let the tickets wind down. Slowly. Even if they take a base, we can still win the game. Besides, like, the way that the Navy battle mode works too is that, you know, players can choose obviously a plane or a ship, right? If they got planes, or everyone can basically fly a plane because if they got enough points, it's just there you go, right? So they get stuck up there. They get stuck up there while the whole army's basically conquering everything and leaving them high and dry. I'm gonna get you. Oh, he's gonna get me! What can I say? They're a very deadly craft. Like, they're so low in the draw, like their draft. The waters, they're so low, right? It's surprisingly hard to hit them with small caliber as well as obviously big caliber. But if you can get them with one good shot, then boom, like with any small vessel, it's game over, man. Game over. Look how many of them are flying, though. Jeez Louise. It's a Navy battle mode, guys. Hi. You got a back out. So I like to think more about survival in these game modes. Just a touch more than normal, because it's you know, selective. You gotta go back to the water if you lose. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Protect me, back gunner. Protect me. Oh, I gotta get out of here. Yes. He's an experienced gunner too, by the way. Get away from me. Get away. Biplanes, man. You can't beat them. Whoa, too low. Texture load in, texture load in. Oh boy. I got some bombs. That's the boat that I thought. Oh, I didn't do nearly enough damage. I missed. Yeah, so that's the boat that I thought the Bosphor was, but it looks like they changed the heading, MGB 61. I must have been confused. Alright. Been a long time since I played the British Navy mode. Although I did enjoy them immensely. I got to the Flower class, so I was like, whoa, these guys get these huge ships so quickly. Interesting. Decent thing about these small bombers is the bomb payload only reloads every minute. As opposed to 6 minutes or 5 minutes or what have you. Oh. Oh. Hello, friend. Welcome back. Gonna hit you. Yeah. I am out of here. Oh, see now what they done? They taken all the bases. We're all up in the sky now. The game's completely changed. We took it to the air. We suffered greatly. We lost many good soldiers. So what we actually need is a motorboat or two to start taking bases, because now they've got us out overstacked down there. Nope. I will make it. Valiant attempt, plane, but you're just a little bit too hurt. Yes, you. I can't. I don't want to give up my bombing position. There's no way I can get this guy in time, right? Is he that sleepy? Oh no! No, he's not. No, he's not. It's all right. Nah, look at the tickets, right? I wanted to. It's cheap to bomb ship pilots anyway. Like that's, unless the battle's really calling for it, because like, you know, there's 10 of them on the objectives and stuff. So I generally just like to give the other team a bit of a chance, because the scoring system ends the games too quickly. I leave all these guys gray because as a one gun machine, all it has is a main caliber. All right, I'm gonna refill the coffee, and yeah, stay tuned. I'll probably do a tank battle. A la France. I'll be right back. do we have here? We got a jungle and a lot of madness. Jungle madness. That's right, you wild pack of beasts. How come my zoom doesn't really zoom? I don't know if I'm doing it right. I used to have a zoom on this gun. This is the old D2. She's big, but you best believe she's beautiful. Oh yes, she is. This thing can take a lot of punishment. It's got a decent turret too. It nuke 'em, the German ones good 'em. Back up, back up, back up. Back up, back up, back up. My frames, man. I wonder what that was all about at the beginning. My frames took about a 20-point hit. Yeah, sure, these tank battles is a lot to draw. I mean, that's true. That's definitely true. P1 Biss is a bit too heavy for me. He, on the other hand. Oh, it's over anyway. Yeah. Yep. I used to actually recon for my team when up in the sky. I'd call them out and indicate on the map where they were, but it's just like it's way too much work. Maybe for simulator where people can't see each other, but I mean all it really takes is one tank to see them, and then all of us see them. And you know, it's simulated radio communication or something such like that. But simulator battle, it's very, 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 very different. You can't see the enemy nearly as well as they probably can see you. He's not neutralized, eh? So often too. Just as he kills you, or just as you get the shot lined up, he kills it. But it's like a rhythm too. The rhythm of battle. Of undisputable, indiscriminate battle. Yes. I'm an old ass dude on the internet. I know everything. Can't you tell by the sound of my voice? I want to appreciate it. First of all, I just want to take a second after all that craziness to appreciate you. Thank you for coming to the channel. Even if you're a government agent at this point, I don't care. But just yeah, appreciate you for boosting my content. I mean, this is mostly a test stream at this point, which is surprisingly working out quite well. Like yeah, I mean, I'm watching it on D Live, and I mean that's exactly the kind of gameplay that I'm looking for. Looks great. Looks absolutely great. Which is curious to me because I thought that the upload speed really, like you wanted it, you know, between 5 and 6K if you were going to do a decent kind of 1080p. At this point, I'm actually just doing 720p, I hope. Maybe 720p at 60 frames is what I try to keep for. And that's pretty much just for phone use, for phone users, so they can catch me on that Periscope. Kasha. Alright, don't shoot me, guys. I'm not your enemy. I'm the tank whisperer. Oh boy. Oh no. It's gonna get smelly. So, okay, so he's moving up. Yeah, I see him. Look at him running. I could kill him, you know, I could do that, but I would give away my position and just kind of what I'm doing. So he running back. You know, I believe some of those tanks could actually be hidden in the terrain and they're just kind of scoping the scene, waiting for somebody to make the first move. But I did put that artillery there with the intention of causing them to scatter, right? Like, so there was a reason why I wasn't so direct. What are these guys? Uh-oh. There's bad news all over it. Wow. The tide of this game seems to change so quickly. Alright. Can I make it? No. Okay. Yes, I can. Ah. Okay, War Thunder, you tricky, man. So you know, back in the day, you could see down below and you knew they were shallow. Right now, they all look deep. Ah, yes. By the way, not all of them are shallow. Oh boy, look at these spawn camping maniacs. Oh. Oh god, I got first place? What went wrong? Everything must have gone wrong. Tank warfare is, tank warfare, after the experience I had with War Thunder, is like, first of all, is you gotta go simulator mode. I mean, arcade mode is a lot of fun, it's fast, but it's just like, it's World of Tanks, and then you go simulator mode, and it's actual, like, a good tank game. Because stealth and hiding and the sharp shot and certain armaments, cannon loadouts, it's really, there's a lot of information and quality research, I'd say, put into the game. Yeah, sure, there's a bit of an unbalance with a lot of things. It's still a video game. It's not going to be perfect. Some tanks are just so tanky that they're the tankimus Rex, and there's nothing you can really do besides just try and get that, you know what I mean? Just try and blow that thing up. Don't complain about it. Don't go to the forums and be like, my tank didn't. Well, your tank was like a little pea shooting T-26 versus like an I-1B BIS. You know, you gotta. Yes, you can do it. You can kill him, but you gotta know where to shoot. It takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of effort, and sometimes it takes all of your ammunition, but it does work. rumble, 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 rumble. It's cool. Oh, well, there's also this view. Got the driver's view. I don't think too many people set this one. This is something that's unset in the keys, but I'm just like, hey, whoa, cool. More features. Yeah, it's pretty neat. It's cool how you can traverse the main cannon, and you can, eventually see it in this view. Like it's top. It's I don't even know the word I'm looking for. It's accurate to what's going on out in the outside of it. So super cool. Lots of different features for the tank mode that make it like easier to understand. I'm not even too keen on all the features myself, but I got my Q and E to my gear shift. If you can see the gear button, it's a gear. There's a key somewhere that I've got set up. I haven't used it in a while, where you can manually transmission a tank, and there's actually a lot of good use to manually transition a tank, depending on the tank that you're using. If you've got a light tank or even a wheeled vehicle, you can do circles around your enemy in gear 2, and they're stuck in the mud. It's so awful. It's hilarious. If you're a somewhat decent driver in real life, then Tank Warfare is definitely for you in War Thunder. Oh, Flak Panzer, those guys are just the pits. They're terrible. Yeah, they're so awful. That gun is amazing. They're pretty much one of those all-season tanks that just kills everything. Just like the Panzer II. Which is, I mean, to even go up against the Panzer II in another light tank, to understand what the German tank, the premise of it was an auto-fire kind of turret gun. Like that, an auto-fire turret, like even if it's just a low caliber, like an auto-fire turret is, it's like a big machine gun in there, and it's like, basically the Germans, if they were going up against pillboxes and houses and stuff at the beginning of the war, so they used that thing as a bloody lawnmower. It was awful, but it's just a tank design. They had to come up with actual anti-tank tanks eventually, and so the evolution of the tank world had begun. I like the French tanks, and I've been using them for some time now, because the early tanks I found were so slow and bad. But you know what? They were surprisingly durable and useful against other light tanks. Now I'm starting to respect the French. They had let's just say a limited selection of armor. I would agree with that. Like, even if the different variants, you would agree they're different tanks, they're pretty much the same, but it's like minor differences. Like, they're really not too alien from each other. Once the French break out into the heavier, like the this, and obviously the Char and stuff, like crazy, really large tanks, there's some other unique variants in there that I think are really, really neat tanks. Like, on par with the Japanese, specialized light recon tanks and stuff, like really useful tools in a tactical battlefield. And it takes experience to learn to master all the tools of the game. It's not just necessarily a point spam, but you could also basically, like, I learned this game by trying to maximize how to get the best score. What does the game want you to do to get the best score? And what it wants for you to do is destroy as many targets as fast as possible, obviously. But if you can chain your hits, like if you hit more than one tank, like you're hitting as many as possible, like spamming the enemy with shots, that's what it wants. Because the game scores purely on a mathematical sense, and it just chains it. So every hit that you score is being tallied. It's not missing anything. It's not. It's a very accurate game in that respect. So I mean, if you can chain your hits to 1 times, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, you can get ungodly scores. Some tanks and vehicles are just better at that than others, and that's just part of the game. Using your machine gun can help you chain attacks. So, it's almost like Elite Dangerous, actually. Like, if you can't necessarily destroy the big ship, then wait till it's softened up to a degree, and then use your light weaponry to just get its attention enough so that your allies destroy it and you still get a credit. Not particularly the best tactic, but if you need to survive because you're not that big and you're going to get blown up, or you want to get the credit of a python, that's what you'd do. You know, you'd wait till near the end and then you'd try and get in there and get as much damage in there as possible for the score. War Thunder, same premise. These tanks are annoyingly durable. I believe that's the Crusader tank, or no, that's the Mark 1, the A13 Mark 1. Yeah, no, I like those tanks a lot actually. And the Tetrarch, that's another one of my favorites. The British have amazing tanks. Too bad that it had to be this way, my friends. Ooh, look. Oh. Who did that? I see you through smoke and fog. Is there a dude's head in the middle of that? No, there's just an armored canopy for no good reason? Alright. There he is. It's a Panzer II? He's off to do some untold damage at our base. That's horrible. Oh no. I got you, friendo. Nice. Oh boy. That's right, punch right through the terrain. In fact, the bigger the caliber, I'm pretty sure it just keeps on going through. But I don't know. I mean, I did notice that Call of Duty Warzone there, or the Modern Warfare, it does the Full Metal Jacket bulletry. Like that actually does have an impact on the game. I watched a Jack Frags video. I know, I'm so cool. But yeah, Jack Frags were showing that off, and it's like, whoa, cool. That's a neat feature that the game has, where certain ammunition types actually penetrate walls better and at a greater velocity than normally. I'm pretty sure it's something that's going to catch on like a trend. Oh, he's in trouble. Oh, I knew it. Oh no. I got too greedy. I should have just taken my shot. I kind of forgot that I was just this little guy. But yeah, you see, I could have shot that tank at that angle. I saw him the way he was. My logic was that I had to get a straight line. I want to hit the crew. I'm aiming for the crew inside, and I've only really got like 2 of 5, so I wouldn't have fully done my damage. I try and imagine where the crew are, because the bullet's going to penetrate and then kind of somewhat explode no matter what ammunition type you generally choose. I'm sure there's some that are like, well, in War Thunder, later on in the game with your higher ranks, you get some pretty interesting weaponry that do all kinds of things. But ultimately, that these shells in the early War Thunder mode, like, the variances are so minuscule ultimately, I find. Unless you're firing at planes or using light ammunition, it's not that big a difference. However, the whole goal is to you want to knock out the driver and possibly the weapon loader, if not the gunner himself. But then they have to go through the reload and the repair cycle. So, I mean, it's all, if you can hit 3 tanks in quick succession, then they're all stuck repairing while you get free reign to kill them all effectively until someone else shows up. So there's strategy behind it. Like, War Thunder teaches you how to play its game, but it's all completely suggestive. See, this guy's really going a crazy ride. Oh, I see where I'm going. Do you see where I'm going? I see where I'm going. Yeah, right into some of these guns. Perfect. Oh, Okay, slow it down. Maybe actually swing off some rounds on somebody. Oh, nice hits. Yeah, that guy's got a cannon. Oh no! That's it. Calling down indiscriminate justice. Again and again, my friend. Indiscriminate justice. Daedric Arrows. Daedric Arrows, salute to you, my friend. Daedric Arrows 56 at live, which means that that player is a consoler. He's using Xbox Live. Or is it PlayStation Live? I don't even know, man. But he's on something live. I think that's neat. I absolutely adore the whole idea of cross-platform. And, you know, I get beaten up pretty badly by consolers at Warzone. It's actually like I don't even want to stream it. It's so embarrassing. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's honestly just such a friggin' grind, that game. So painful sometimes. Like by no stretch of the imagination am I really a particularly lethal player or smart player. But in war, when there's like other players and it's a team deathmatch, I can get pretty good. Yeah, when there's like a team effort involved, I definitely up my game. I noticed that a lot about me. I kind of scale it off of other players too. Like, it's as an experienced player of these kinds of games, it's kind of like this. If you join a lobby and you know within the first 5 minutes that you're like the only person that's trying to go for the objectives and take the points and actually try and clear vendettas, like a guy in a plane kills you and he's bombing everybody, so you go and kill him back kind of thing, you clear the vendetta. If you're the only guy doing that, then it's just like it's already a foregone conclusion. The end is already here. It's just playing out in slow motion kind of thing. Like you're watching your team just lose horribly and slowly, and it's extremely demoralizing. You can beat that, of course you can. Like there's a lot of players who are just like they stick to a squad, and you know they do ammo health for each other and all that stuff. But they never break. They're really well trained. They're sometimes console only, like Xbox, PlayStation, and that makes sense because they got all the headsets and stuff, right? So they're really good at working together, and they trust each other, and they all know what each other's going to do. And those kinds of squads can totally change the balance in a shitty game. I've seen it so many times. And like these guys, they never leave the top of the board. So the proof is in the pudding. Like, I'm a lone wolf player most of the time, but the only way to really win is with a good team and a good squad, and taking a good squad in practically any game guarantees success in every game. Rant over. Love how, so I've got my graphics set to performance and the ambient occlusion from my card. That could be a reason why I'm kind of getting shittier frames once in a while, but overall I find that it's just like, it really seems to smooth out everything really nicely. Like, I'm very impressed, and yeah, I don't regret it at all. It looks great. We got a bunch of German tanks, American light tanks, BT-5s, fast movers. Surprisingly fast, given that I'm like absolutely massive. I've got the other French tank there that's about the same size, but it's noticeably faster because it's not nearly as armored. And yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's interesting having a big body like that because it confuses the other players as to where the humans are. You know, most of them generally understand that shooting the crew out gets you dead. So that's how you do it. And you can shoot the gun too. That also, but it doesn't guarantee victory. Look at that. What a straight shot. Damn. That's perfect aim. That's what I want. So I'll take this other big guy. The S-35. The S-35, yes. The S-35. Pretty much the same, really, but it's a bit faster. And certainly more spinny on the turning. Okay, no, we gotta take this party boat to A. Slow ride. Take it easy. Yeah, I'm very impressed with the graphics. Very impressed. Oh no, this looks like it could be a bad idea, Yogi. And we're not getting up there. Curses. Oh, boulders, my only weakness. Come on. It sucked to break a tread right now. Slow ride. Take it easy. Yeah. Beep, beep. Steamboat coming through, man. Ah, France had some amazing tanks. They really had some pretty wonderful pieces for the time and the era. Like, yeah, they really did. Probably the world's best. You know, maybe not the most effective, because it comes down to bullets, it comes down to training, it comes down to crew, it comes down to availability, it comes down to all these factors that have nothing to do with the tank. It's horrible. We don't all this money invested in it doesn't mean anything. It was all about how it was organized. But anyway, I digress. Is that they probably had some of the best early war tanks in the world, and they probably had the most too. Like some of these tanks were just like, I mean, I'm surprised they only had 3 crew in here. They could probably fit like another 3 people. Do like artillery and radio commands. Use it as a command tank. A tank this size could effectively be a troop transport. More like a tactical operations vessel, though. Like it actually has radio equipment and things set up for like forward advanced recon. They're fighting over the base. Oh. He's a light tank too. I can actually get him. Okay, so I gotta spin this around. This is really important. That guy right there, that M8. Oh, watch out, don't hit me. He's gotta go. He's taking the base. Oh no. It's alright. It's worth it, really. Distracting that guy and keeping him off that point is all we need. There's more coming. So I take it, I don't know, I've got to go into my options really, but I take it that my zoom has been set to default or something. Like it's not, it's there, I believe it's there, but I've got to activate it now and customize it, I believe. They said something about user customized reticules, and you know me, I don't read that stuff. I'm all like, what's this writing and stuff, disclaimers. Oh, I'm not selling you anything, I'm not buying anything. Too high. I can get him. Sorry. No, now's not the time to take easy air access out, because it's crucial, really. They could probably take A, they could be attacking B, and you'd be stuck 30 seconds up in the sky with largely toothless weapons that can do nothing to help. So you gotta get in position, and then wait for the right timing. Even this to provide a distraction with your own tank, so that these guys all shoot at you while you bring in a bomber. Oh, maybe I've already said too much. Hey, these are top-notch tricks that people have to pay real money. No, I'm just kidding. It's just a video. I want people to be good like me. Because I'm super good. Can't you tell? I'm really good. No, I've just been playing video games a long fucking time. Alright. Effing. This is a family-friendly show. Come on, guys. I apologize about my language. As you can tell, I'm kind of like a bit verbose. Just say what's kind of on the mind. And as it genuinely does say in the description, it's a full mixed bag here, man. You're gonna get everything. I'm glad the stream's working out so well, though. First and foremost, like, it was having such a problem at the beginning there. For some reason, my old settings just seemed to just completely regurgitate up as soon as I started the stream. Whereas before, I was playing Battlefield 5, Battlefield 1, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, 60 frames a second, nearly. And I was like, I don't think 2500 bits a second is actually going to be able to manage a Battlefield stream, but for War Thunder, it's working like A-okay, man. It's working great. Let's try out some Russian planes. Russia. Look at the graphics. See the shading on that? Now, even in, like, this is what I appreciate about stencil work and graphic detailing in video games. Because it's really an artist's rendition in their head, as anyone who's taken an art class would know, that it's all imagination. Like, it's how you see something, it's how you envision it. You create it from thin air. You know, you create the visage of anything, including a plane or whatever. So you look at the detail, right? The shimmering and the shining of the aliasing, the way that it highlights the curves of the light on the objects. Even the decal work, it's like it's so detailed that it's ultra detailed. And yet it still kind of has that low aliased kind of nothing super wild, let's just say, okay? But it is aliased. Like, look at even the shading here. It might look a little pixelated to some people, but that it's simulating the riveted nature of the plane throughout the whole of the artwork. And the light is complementing that. It's just, to me, it's just unendingly beautiful. It's like, wow, it's so pretty. It's just so pretty, man. And I do realize this. When you get into the game mode, you're not exactly getting what you saw at the beginning, because the game has to retexture a lot of things. You'll notice that a lot of enemy planes in this game, when you get close to them, they have low polys and textures and stuff. Natural, in my opinion. Many of them do, and some of them aren't even really properly textured because it's a more of a massively multiplayer game. They could, and they could make everything super detailed. But I mean, if that AI bomber that's like one of 30 on a map that's just there to be shot at, does it really matter? I mean, to me, it's like, this is about effectively like worshipping warplanes, or at least that's what the start of it was. It turned into tanks and ships, but it was all about like, ooh, wow, I'm flying the World War II plane of my dreams, and I'm using it against real players. So yeah, that zoom, that's like full zoom, and I should get that zoom on the tanks. I'll have to set that and take a look at that before I go back to it. Yes, my Russian maidens, my maidens of communist manifestism, something like that. They protect me. Like red angels. Oh. You know, people might complain about the AA in this game. I remember when it used to be absolutely lethal, though. The AA was really something scary. Kind of the way it should be, but yeah, they nerfed it a lot. It used to be really scary. Okay, so I am at a disadvantage already because he is in a vastly superior plane when it comes to the tight turns because of his wing design. And although he doesn't know that because he just left, he could have totally beat me if I kept playing that game. Just FYI for next time, dude. F2A. Oh, he's coming back, eh? Try and clip you now so you're not really much of a problem later. Huh? It's bait. I can't even chase him even if I tried. That's not true. The Yak is very fast. However, it does have drawbacks. It's more of a scoot and boot. It has uses. It carries heavy payload. It has rockets. It has bombs. It's great. It has good forward-facing weapons. Excellent horsepower. Basically like a modified P40 almost. Like in that respect, it feels like it has a reliable and sturdy engine, I suppose. I'm just thinking about in the game mechanics. I have no idea about historically. Like, it actually is a P40. No, I don't mean that, dude. I don't know enough about these planes like that. But in this game, yeah, it feels reliable. It must be the wide wings that give it that kind of, like, just on the verge of being like a streamlined jet fighter or like a frontline fighter, I suppose. Like a mainstay. It's a good plane, for sure, but there's certainly better. He's a biplane. With 4 guns facing forward. Yeah, he's dangerous. He's very dangerous, actually. I shouldn't... Well, I've got his attention now. And he's using stealth rounds. What a king of kings. That's something that I would do, sir. Oh, boy. This makes things a little bit more challenging for me. Yeah, that was exactly what... that was exactly what I wanted to have happen. Perfect. And I'm pretty sure that guy was on his way to spawn camp. So, sayonara. Nice. You don't get as much cannons as you think, though, so it's got to be short time bursts. Great for killing, basically great for killing anything, but BF-109s being they're so small, like it only takes a few rounds and that's it. It's kind of meant for bombers, actually. The Yak, this plane's great for neutralizing bombers. He's still a threat, but he's not as much, so I'm moving on. Oh, I'm losing my frames. Oh, my frames. So, crucial science stuff happening here. Crucial science stuff. The game itself, I'm watching my packet temperature and all that stuff, my core temperature, my card, my settings, and everything was still stable. It's purely a software issue that causes that frame deletion. It looks like it just basically dumps a bunch of frames at the end. It doesn't happen often. It happens about every 5 minutes, and it's manageable. I don't mind it. It's a kind of a thing that happens, but I'm getting a smoothness of the anti-aliasing that's fixed other problems. Because I used to get this weird texture graphical reload issue with, I'm using a 6GB video card and 16 gigs of RAM. I'd say definitely more than enough for War Thunder, but I'm not going to say that it's a top-end PC. However, they're setting for their ambient occlusion at 4x, where everything, it ups the textures to 4x, right? It has a warning. It says that the game itself is it's not recommended for it and everything, so you throw it on anyway, and it has weird graphical glitches just because it's not completely optimized for the software. Or something along these lines. I mean, I've just been playing video games for a long time. What do I know? Little belly gunner. Little belly gunner down there. Well, he's hard to see. But I've also got a back gunner too. Yeah, this guy's probably... There he is. 3 people in here. 4 people. What the hell? Who? Oh, no, it's the pilot. Yeah, that's the pilot. I was like, who is this emperor at the top? Who? I'm like, wait a minute. The engine is a person. Nonetheless, though, two gunners in this plane. Wow. I mean, if they felt like it was necessary to do that, then it's definitely welcome, because that is a huge advantage over enemy planes. You can really use it. Like right now. I got 2 big bombs I gotta drop. There's a base over there. No. There's probably about 8 of them behind me. They know what's happening. They know what's going on. Do your worst. Those poor gunners aren't giving anything. That's okay. I'd rather live. You know? It's about survival. It's about getting the payload to the target. Okay, that's it. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, come on, get him. I mean, this plane right here that I'm flying is designed for like low altitude craziness with those huge wings, and it's got a really powerful engine. It's maybe not the most fancy of planes, but boy, is it fun to fly. This guy's fun to fly too, like let me tell you. The KABB-2. Oh yeah. This guy reminds me of the pink dude from F-Zero. Like this particular, he's a big plane, right? But boy, is he fast. He's the drift king around here, man. I'll tell you what. They call this guy Sergey from Kyrgyz, man. This guy knows how to drift around those bends. This plane here is a lot of fun. See that? There's a lot of guns. I didn't think the cannons would take that long to reload. Yikes. That's something you can adjust in the crew compartment of the game. You can increase the skills and let them do it faster, better, have more stamina, stuff like that. Oh boy, someone's shooting at me already? Sweet. Indubitably. So I don't want to waste those sweet cannon rounds. I'm just so impressed with how the game looks right now that it has to be that performance setting. It might not be. This is for the ambient occlusions, by the way. It seems to have smoothed it out in just a way that the outside environment, the lighting at least, seems to have particulated in such a way that I don't see as many artifacts, because I was actually seeing so many before. Yeah. Like, it looks just so different. The textures relatively look the same, but that's not really what I'm noticing as much. It's that, whoa, that guy's got a butthole on his neck. It's like the lighting. The lighting has cast over everything, and it gives the world, the mountains, a much more realistic appeal. Like, whoa, I feel like I'm almost playing a different game. I love War Thunder. I had to get out of there. It was getting a little bit too dizzy even for me. Well, we aren't going to lose. but I don't see him necessarily as a threat. If he can make it back to base, I wouldn't take that way back to base, but go for it. It just means more time that he's not reloading a new bomber. Oh yeah. Surprised he didn't destroy me. These guys have amazing guns. He's being cheeky, are ya? Being cheeky? Eh? You think all it takes me Disco King around these parts, huh? You would have, you really would have though. Like, yeah, the J-22 is spoiled. Just spoiled. I mean, I'm pretty sure they had planes like this, but they were probably prototype along these lines, da-da-da, yada-yada. Or they were concept planes designed to, like, hey, you know, the Americans or the Germans or the British, they made this particular design, can you make something to counter it? So, let's take a look. We're not joking around here with the amount of firepower already. Yeah, it's pretty standard for a fighter plane, I would say, right? But it's four machine guns, and 2 of them are these 8mm. Yikes! With ammo 500 apiece. That's a lot of boom. Like, this guy's meant for bomber killing 100%, and he's small and fast. Horsepower 808, huh? Okay, takeoff power. So let's compare that to, I believe, the progenitor of such a design, this plane. I just want to preview it. Okay, choose crew then. No. Yeah, okay. Wow. And really nothing in common, actually, in that regards. Yeah, the Focke-Wulf, like, to me, looking at the plane's inherent physical design, this plane is just a shortened version of that plane. This guy. Yeah. Yeah. The Focke-Wulf, and the Focke-Wulf 109, or whatever the Focke-Wulf design for the German planes was considered, like, evolutionary in terms of warplane. Like, it was very, very fast. It was called an interceptor type plane. It was extremely dangerous, high firepower. It brought in new physics into the battle. Like, if you can imagine what the experience must have been for these pilots, is that some of them had actually become good enough in the months and stuff to follow in World War II that they were like, okay, the limitations of their craft and stuff were becoming well known to them. But then these planes were introduced, creating whole new environments, like high G turns and like just extreme maneuvers. And the Focke-Wulf is like the king of, he's like the grandfather of such designs. The Focke-Wulf, notably the German F190A1 era, or whatever, the earlier versions, these guys were intimidating and became the eventual backbone of the Luftwaffe, in that their design was pretty much so streamlined, and they were extremely good by single engine planes, like just perfect really for their roles. Interceptor, high intensity attack plane. Sure, they might not have had the ammunition that the Bf-109 counterparts had, or rather the tactical flexibility, like dropping bombs and stuff like that, or even carrying rockets. But I believe Focke-Wulfs do carry rockets. Like, yeah, this plane is basically this plane. It's just not nearly as fast. Sure, the guns are, let's see, the cannon's got 250 ammunition, so that's 500 per, or 500 for the total. Okay, so I've got 500 ammunition on that guy. What does this one have? You gotta be kidding me. But it's also a 20 millimeter cannon. Like, this guy's meant to shoot down big, heavy bombers. However, 120 ammunition, that's awfully limited. Whereas another guy gets 500. They're so much smaller, but they're perfect for pecking the small planes out of the sky. Like, yeah. Yeah. It's a fun plane to fly. Let's try it out. Oh god, in simulator? No. The J-22, the Swedish tree in general, I think it's just awesome. Like, the bombers are good, the fighters are good. Oh, my frames. My frames. My frames. Yeah, it's that setting. So it's purely the game's lag. Like, it doesn't like to it kind of drops the shaders, and like, and you know what the thing is, okay, is that it does that normally. I seen it. I watched this game and played it enough to fight with its graphics settings to realize that it has some kind of weird issue where it drops its shaders and just constantly reloads them. You're changing in between certain view zones, and I got it set to maximum as naturally as you can imagine. And yeah. It's entirely this weird thing with this game now. Now I've seen the way War Thunder looks with a lot of other different PCs. I've watched a lot of different streamers. Some of their games look so good, look so smooth, so crisp, man, so beautiful. Like, this game can be maximized to such an extraordinary level. But I've had nothing but struggle with it. I mean, I was helped by an individual, a person who came on the stream, and it's really just trial and error, as I'm sure as it is with everybody. And yeah, it's just like, I'm always fighting with War Thunder, always trying to get, like, right now I got 60 frames. I got my VSync on, everything's just chilly grilly, but I'm sure I'm gonna lose my frames again eventually. See? Okay, so now if you could imagine, you're going at like 700 kilometer an hour or something. You're doing a dive bomb, and then you got something with the turn velocities of this. Like, it's a combination of the Japanese key 1 high, or key 2 high, and probably a P400 Sky Cobra. Like, it's this plane is the hybridization of two philosophies, and it's, in my opinion, not how I would design a plane, but it was just done because it needed to be done. You know, it's like we need planes that can do certain qualities. This plane isn't the be all end all, but it's very fast and it's very maneuverable. Me personally, I've lost a lot of dogfights struggling to surprisingly low battle ranking planes. They just seem to get into those gaps sooner than I do, and if I don't go a billion miles an hour in one direction, then they get me, or at least they wound me enough that I burn out. A lot of cannons, huh? Oh. Alright. Let's see if it is strictly related to taking off. No, it was so it's a texture kind of load in. It only seemed to really get laggy when I just loaded into the mode. But I can definitely see the smoothing effect. It looks amazing. It looks really good. So that's good. Alright. Let's try us a little bit of, Jolly old England with the Vosper series. Look at all those Lewises. That's 8 of them. Yeah, that's a lot of machine gun. Customize, modifications. No depth charges. Acceptable. Depth charges aren't the be all end all. They seem to really, like, yeah, the older versions of depth charges were really overpowered. Like, you could absolutely explode gigantic ships. So they should be kind of really overpowered. Like, real depth charges are like gigantic hand grenades in the ocean. I will be right back.
Gunners are searching for airborne and surface targets.
Beep boop. Beep boop boop. I move really slow. Look at me. Not as slow as I suppose some of the big ships, right? But I'm not very fast, and I don't go very far. Alright. See, when you get him at this side angle here, like an old age of sail ship, like you shoot him in this vector right here, ooh, yeah, you give him some of this little boy. It gets spicy. This ship's amazing. You get a lot of bullets. As you can see, there's still 8 Lewises. Check it out. Don't jam the guns, though. You. Oh, hey, light them up. Light them up. Light them up. Light them up. Oh, I hit the wall too. No. Do I get something to fly? No, not yet. I'll be right back. Typical War Thunder. I go and I take a dump, and this is what I come back. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna go refill a coffee. Now, what dumping that's about to be going down is what I'm about to just give their Air Force as they come in and go, oh, yeah, I see. Getting a little bit too close for comfort, are you? That's a lot of manual firepower, if you ask me. Oh, yeah. Never mind, that's 8 Lewis's. 8, count them, 8. That's a lot of bullets. I believe it's 1,000 rounds per. Will they? Oh boy, yes they will. Oh, they're basing them. Oh boy. That's how you win Navy battle. You wait for your opponent to go run off and do something and then take all his bases. Logical even. Back when I first started playing Navy arcade mode, it would be gigantic groups of flotillas of players just smashing into each other. Shells raining across the sky in horrific fury, in almost like an endless mockery to the light itself, as they scorched through and across the bows and decks of your allies, smashing into the hulls of the lumbering, massive ships behind you, crashing amongst the waves in the mountains, all along as you race between the gullies to escape the horrendous cavalcade of fire as it screams across your men's faces, scorned in their attitudes and their minds for all eternity at the violence. It can be pretty exciting, I suppose, yeah. Now, the idea, I think, is try to hit the crew, right? Like, you want to knock the guns out. But I just wasted all my ammo anyway. Yeah. Well, that was a timely hit, but still. So, yeah, something about those guns that must be the ammunition type I'm using. They just feel really underpowered. You see, yeah, I was using tracers actually. This is a tracer bullet, incendiary and armor piercing, and 3 incendiary. I'd rather. Oh, so this one's 2. 2. No. This one's actually not 2 and 2. Incendiary armor and okay, so I'll go with you then because you're not a tracer bullet. The old crazy 8 donkey. That's some old deco work. I hadn't used that guy in a long time. There we go. A bit more penetration. Perfect. That's what we need, really. I'm not just making him angry. Throwing salt and pepper in his face. Oh. They're not the most powerful machine guns, I'll give it that. It seems, after playing the Italian for a while, that I was a bit spoiled by what you can actually destroy. Because that thing destroys everything. Oh, these guns are nice. I don't mind it. I don't mind being able to bear all your guns on the side like that. That's kind of neat too. Okay, yeah, so every universal pattern is different. Armor piercing, incendiary, armor piercing bullets. Yeah, just armor piercing. Hopefully I'd be killing the crew if they try and hit me in the back. With this. the ambient occlusion is different. Like the way that it's mapped out, all the lighting on all the textures is different. That's what it is. Like that seat is so much more detailed than normal that it's ridiculous. Like it's actually quite flat when left normally. And all I've got it set on is the performance mode. It's actually got a quality mode, and I'm afraid to use it because it just seems like the GPU just gives right out on it. Impressive, most impressive. Oh! Who in the... It's a good thing this guy's got lots of good. Oh no, I'm losing trim. The engine might stall, actually. I got hit pretty bad. You see that big wide fender that comes out of the front there? I don't know what that does, but it seems to open and close in some kind of realistic fashion. It was you who lit me up, wasn't it? And I shall avenge my flap. Wide wings create a plane that's certainly more planey, like it's easier to fly level, easier to fly straight. It naturally has inclinations to stay lift, like an albatross or a wide swept wing of a bird. The bigger birds probably fly less as much as they just soar better. Like they certainly catch more air under the large wings, right? Same premise with these planes. Downside is that they're more targetable. If a wing's bigger, it can be blown off easier. So it's certainly, it has its drawbacks, being a big wing, especially as the Japanese planes. Their wings can be pretty big because they're like a torpedo bomber. And yeah, you gotta look out, man, because those bullets will get you. If you stay low and center, then you're probably the least silhouetted. And therefore, of course, you're vulnerable to ships, of course. They've got that 360 plane view on you. Oh, he got me good. Did he just knock out my gunner? He totally did. Yeah, it was a 4-pound conclusion. So, I mean, I've been, I don't know, streaming for a bit here. Really? Have I been streaming for 3 hours? No way. Wow. Time seems to fly when you're having fun, even if I'm just talking to myself and two of my best friends online. I appreciate you guys for coming to check out the stream. And I think that I'm actually going to take a break from War Thunder for now. Yeah, it's certainly been a lot of fun, though, and I'm actually quite surprised at how well it's been streaming to DLive. I don't know about Periscope, Twitch, or even YouTube at this point. It's all dealing with its own headaches. I mean, if it's not YouTube, it's DLive. If it's not DLive, it's Twitch. But so far, so good today. I might actually try and stream a different game, maybe in a short while here. Oh, I've just got a new guest. Alright, well, in honor of a new guest, someone who's shown up and procced my little thing that shows the 3 people watching, we're going to go again. I'm going to take Japan. I'm going to take them Japan. Or the mighty United States. Japan it is. Yeah. I tried to make a loadout that was suitable for like bombing missions, tactical advances and things like that. More capability, like, because when I first started playing today, we won a few games, and then it turned into a lose fest because I just kept bombing all the targets, and the game would be over in under 5 minutes. So, you know, hopefully there's more fighters, I suppose, in the mix. Immediate action incendiary bullet. High explosive incendiary bullet. See, there's all kinds of different immediate action incendiary bullet. Yeah, there's all kinds of different bullet types for different planes and things like that. Let's see how this works. So I noticed with the Japanese planes, that the gun patterns they have are great. Like the way that they line up their bullets to fire out, are usually very comparable to the Americans. It seems like it's as if they were learning from each other. Problem is this, they don't have the same penetrations as the American ones, that's for sure. These Japanese guns are quite light, and you need to be relatively accurate because you're really just damaging the paint, scrapping a little bit of the metal. It's going to take more than blowing off a wheel in order to blow off or destroy a P-40. And the Russian planes too, by the way. Those guys got some meat on them. Valiant. He's in an FE1 series? Okay. So he's in an earlier BF1. I believe he's got the 4... Oh, he's only got the 2 guns facing forward? The F1 series is the real dangerous BF109 in my opinion. That's the one that I get a little bit scared about. He's going to run out of ammunition eventually. That Hurricane has the worst. He's got 4 guns facing forward and about 1,000 rounds or more, probably about 1,600. Yeah, he'll get me if I don't actually get him first. The BF-109 is just irritating me. See? I knew it. See, he's a small plane. A Hurricane, it's a beautiful plane. I love the Hurricanes. But he's small, not particularly fast. Excellent at annihilating everything within close range, though. Like, just a mean little spiteful plane. Alright, so we're already losing. It looks great. I don't blame my team or blame any kind of aspect, and I see a lot of people sometimes complain about the way the score works, the prioritizing of land targets and stuff. After so many games in War Thunder, it generally feels just random at this point. Like, usually players are doing everything right, and just by all their bombers destroying all of our bases before we did, and stuff like that, can lead to just foregone conclusions. So, and with plane battles, it seems like it's just over so much sooner than the rest. I suppose it's, the positive is that it's also the easiest to get into a new game. So, there's goods and bads. The plane on my right, he's coming in. A little bit of frame stuttering, but that's okay. It does seem to level itself out. It's that same guy, isn't it? Yeah, I need to drop my bombs. I can make it. Oh, no. Yeah, that's him. Artoz. I like that plane. Damn, I'm getting smoked. Japanese superiority has met its match. The quality of lighting is so different. Wow. Yeah, it's definitely an improvement, but holy, is it it absolutely changed like the outlook of the game in such a subtle way, and it's entirely the light. The textures still look the same. The lighting has changed everything. I'd like to find a kind of a mod or something, some kind of way to be able to increase that effect in every game that I play, regardless of the drawback on the frames. I mean, or see, within reason, I suppose. You. Oh. IL-2s, man, those things are absolutely terrifying. They've got so many great guns and weapons. Yeah, those things are not safe to fly anywhere near. There you go. You. Oh, he's going in on a death run. Yeah, because he got those forward-facing cannons. They all fly so directly forward at their targets, and you can tell when a yak is about to shoot. It's just kind of the way that the plane is designed. But also, it's because I'm a bit of a science nerd. Did you see that? Oh boy, stole my kill. It's cool though. I appreciate that effort. GG, man. And GG everyone, because I believe that's my last game. Yeah, I'm gonna take a break for a while, enjoy my coffee, and just chill out, and catch and absorb what else might be on the web. And now, for someone who might catch the stream later, or actually want to be interested in what I have to say, and some of the political things, and some of the more verbose things that I generally comment, I do appreciate the ability to exercise free speech. I understand that it can be raunchy at times. Guess what? Sometimes someone's got to have sex. You know? Sometimes someone's going to puke. Sometimes someone's got to take a dump. Like, there's a lot of things about life that naturally don't make it to their way onto paid cable access. They're not for the right audience. They're not necessarily things that the majority of people want to hear. But that's just it. That there's a lot of people in this world who do, I believe, want to hear what people like maybe even me might have to say about such things. About the plight of the black person in America. Right? Oh, well, what right do I have? Yes, I'm white. Yes, I'm just as ignorant as the rest, but at least I'm thinking about it. I'm seeing it and I'm saying, that's a lot of people who are ultimately used by this country called America and treated just like garbage, just like anyone else. Like, they didn't love anyone to begin with. They just seem to care about just who votes for what they can get out of you, what they can squeeze out of you. It's just like up in Canada, really. It's what I'm saying is this, is that our problems aren't so alien anymore. And I think that by talking true to at least myself, to my God, to my being, it might actually help some people see their light, see the way through it, right? Like, there's a lot of craziness in this world, guys, truly, and it's coming after the young and the naive, and it's so sad to see, because there's a lot of very beautiful people who are getting tainted and destroyed forever by violence and mayhem that ultimately is going to go away. You know, is that your futures as children in this world, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, Jamaican, Caribbean, Monte Carloian. Sorry, I don't mean to be rude. But I mean, like, from all the many hundreds of nationalities in this world, like, America used to be a place of sanctuary, a place of reason. And you think I'm going to blame this all on one president, one man, right? Because it takes a country to ruin an image. Believe me. And there's a lot of people who are happy to fill those boots. Like, I need Americans to be on their A game, man. Don't you guys see what's going on? Like, they're trying to project one race against another, to fractionalize. They want us to hate the Mexicans, they want us to hate the blacks, they want us to hate the whites, they want us to hate the Jews, they want us to hate everybody. But who is actually wanting us to hate? If it's not coming from the American government at this point, where is it coming from? Because they're the only people that seem to care what I think. A rant over. What a landing. GG, guys, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.